2. What exactly is C-60? What benefits does it have physically, and does it have any esoteric slash spiritual benefits for those that take it? Today, we have Ken Swartz with us, one of my good friends, and we're going to be talking about C-60, and we're going to talk about all of those aspects and hopefully many more. Ken is in the beautiful state of Colorado. I'm here in the heartland, and wherever you are, we're very glad to have you with us. So, Ken, welcome back to the Christian Whistleblower channel.
Glad to be on.
It's been a minute since we've seen you.
Yes, it has been a bit.
Yeah, Ken and I met out at what I call RexCon. Everybody else calls LeakCon, and we became friends right away. Have you talked to Jay lately?
No, I haven't talked to him in a couple of weeks at least.
Yeah, Jay's a busy guy, and we did some shows with Jay, and we appreciate Jay Campbell and his work. He's definitely one of the foremost exercise and physical optimization guys out there, and a good spiritual guy too. So we do appreciate Jay. And Ken, you just got back. I understand you're living a tough life. You just got back from, what was it, St. Thomas?
Oh yeah, we had one of my woman friend has a friend down there. They moved years ago, decades ago. They moved down to there. They sold everything and said, we're just quitting the rat race. So they moved down to there. So I've spent a week on a boat, but
that's awesome.
It was a working sailboat. So I did my chores to keep everything running. So.
Tracy Dyer calls RexCon PotCon.
Oh.
There was probably some people that were advocates of the herb out there. I would say that's accurate.
Yep, and they have stores all over the place now. So
they do have stores all over the place. Ken, tell us what exactly C-60 is, because there's actually people here that don't know what it is. Oh, and by the way, I've got a bottle of C-60 Purple Power right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little raffle. That's all right with Ken. If you want to go to jeffreydaugherty.com, go to the Donate Now button, put in $1, we'll put your name in the raffle. And then at the end of the show, I'm going to look at how many people put in their name, and I'm going to make it a list, and I'm going to say, Ken, pick a number between 1 and 45. Ken's going to pick that number, and that person gets a free bottle of C-60 Purple Power. Does that sound okay, Ken?
Sounds great.
Excellent. So tell us, what is C-60?
Well, C-60 is a carbon molecule of 60 carbon atoms shaped like a little tiny soccer ball. And it's an allotrope of carbon. It's in the same family as like graphene, graphite, diamond, and it's called a fullerene. And technically it's 60. There's different size fullerenes. The one that has 60 atoms is called a Buckminster fullerene, after Buckminster Fuller. They named it after his honor because he actually theorized that such a molecule could exist. But that was back in the 80s, long before they could do anything like that. So when it was discovered, all the discoverers, of course, like Buckminster Fuller too, and so they named it in his honor, since he had passed away at that time. But when they went to do animal testing, studies, it solved a long-standing mystery in astronomy. And then, of course, here's a new molecule. We don't know anything about it, so they went to do toxicity tests, and they found that it doubled the lifespan of animals, of the test animals over controls. Yeah, so it was not supposed to happen, right? It's supposed to be poisonous or maybe neutral, not supposed to double the lifespan. And it primarily did that by completely eliminating the occurrence of cancers, cognitive decline, and other sort of diseases associated with aging. Basically, the little rats or the mice, they did several studies, basically lived out long, healthy lifespans till they hit their genetic expiration date.
And this is actually a C-60 molecule behind me. You can't see the whole thing, but it's a slightly stylized one. And so what are we've had humans taking it for about how long, would you say, C-60?
I'd say that people doing it maybe 7 to 5 years. That's as long as people have been, significant amounts of people have been taking it.
And what are the physical benefits of it?
Oh, well, first off, you're going to get, you're going to get an increase in energy. That's a number one thing that you get. That's the first. Also, it gets mental clarity, brain fog, all that. So people, you get increased in energy, then you get a much mental clarity. And the things, all the things I talk about are things that have been found in scientifically peer-reviewed scientific studies. It's it protects against radiation, it reduces inflammation, it increases endurance, it reduces your recovery times. Like if you do exercise, maybe your recovery time will be 1/4 of what it was. If you get more, increases virility a large amount. That's another side effects. Protects the DNA. And basically, it's a super antioxidant. And one of its secret is, like a lot of antioxidants, there's an oxidative radical comes by, sticks to it, it locks up it, and that's it. It has to be reset or something. Well, C60 can reset itself. It basically, an oxidative radical will stick to it, and then the C60 pulls a hydrogen ion out of the water around it, which there's constant was, and then it uses that to neutralize the oxidative radical, usually back to water, and then it resets itself. So C60 can reset itself again and again and again, and that's the secret of its antioxidant properties. But there's one other thing: it's also a selective antioxidant, because reactive oxidative species, there's a lot of signaling molecules that are reactive oxidative species, like nitrogen oxides. C60 only deals with like high energy oxidative radicals, like superoxygen, the hydroxyl radical, hydrogen peroxide, other peroxides. It doesn't interfere, let's say, with the nitric oxide cycles, or there's various other reactive oxidative species signaling molecules based on like iron and zinc and sulfur, and it doesn't interfere with those. Those are lower energy. It only really affects high energy oxidative radicals. So sometimes you can have problems if you take too much antioxidants. C60 doesn't do that because it doesn't interfere with the reactive oxidative species signaling pathways.
Interesting. And Runaway Train's asking a question that says, and this is, what he says, and you can comment on the validity of it. It says, C60 CBD receptors in the body are all recent discoveries. I wonder what's next, he asks.
Oh yeah, well that they found that that the CBD and THC were part of the mammalian brain.
Right.
So but C60, the C60 is where it really gets taken. It goes through the blood-brain barrier, goes through this and gets absorbed into the cells. The cells actively uptake it, and then where it really goes is it goes into the mitochondria. That's where 50 to 60% of all your oxidative radicals your cell's going to have is in the mitochondria, especially if you're exercising. You can be using like 100 times the oxygen, the mitochondria are when they're doing that, because mitochondria make ATP, the energy molecule for a cell, does like 95% plus of all the energy. But that's also, when it's doing that, it produces, that's a fuel source. So it produces oxidative radicals like superoxygen and hydrogen peroxides and things like hydroxyl radicals. And C60 is uptaken by the mitochondria, and the mitochondria use that to neutralize superoxygen and hydrogen peroxide, especially. So so it reduces the oxidative burden on your cells, all these oxidative radicals. And once that's done, then your cells can operate more efficiently. And as we age, one of the things as we age, we make less antioxidants, like superoxide dismutase and catalase and CoQ10 and glutathione. Those can become less and less and less. Well, C60 gets in there and replaces the missing antioxidants that happen as we age, or if we're under a lot of stress or having bad lifestyle choices, and it replaces that. And so so now that your body, once that oxidative burden is lifted off your cells, then your cells can operate the way they're supposed to be. And that's really what it does. And C60 doesn't really cure anything. What it does, it lifts the oxidative burden that your cells are under, and then your cells can operate the way they're supposed to, and then your health improves.
Yeah, that all makes sense to me. And there was somebody that asked something very early. I just had to go back into the chat room. And, we always try to address all of the questions. Lisa says that she's kind of on the fence regarding C60. She says she's looking at early research, she says, from the 60s. And she's asking if it's 3 times harder than diamonds. She's worried that it might shred the gut or brain barrier?
That's not C60. That's probably graphene. C60 was discovered in 1985, and then the people that discovered it got a Nobel Prize in 1996. And then most of the testing that occurred by, it was really hard to make, even when they got the Nobel Prize. It took C60, pure high purity C60 still cost more by weight than gold. It's a really expensive substance, and it's hard to make. And so that's one of the reasons why it's so expensive. But they didn't really have anything until they developed techniques until the early 2000 into the 2005. That's really when the studies, it got cheap enough people could, even research institutions could afford it to study. But no, they've done toxicity studies. They've given rats, and mice 10,000, over 10,000 times, like the normal level a person would be taking. And they had no toxic effects at all at 10,000 times, over 10,000 times the levels. And so no toxicity at all. And there's part of that is C-60 likely had something to do with the origin of life on Earth. So it's like built into life's chemistry that it doesn't do any damage, because it probably was life's original antioxidant. But that might be another show.
So whatever that was in the 60s they were testing, it wasn't C-60.
It's probably graphene. Maybe it wasn't C-60. Yeah, they didn't even have a clue about C-60 in the 60s or the 70s.
So yeah, whatever that
80s.
was, that was that. And
Yeah,
somebody also said something a little odd. Let's see, what was it? And this is kind of weird, Mr. B. I'm trying to remember how much commenting Mr. B does, but there's so many people, and I appreciate all of you. It says, is there some way that a C-60 could be to assist the 5G effects on you?
Oh, no, it doesn't. Well, C-60 is perfectly spherical, so it doesn't act as an antenna. But C-60 can neutralize the effects of 5G, because 5G causes, the 5G causes oxidative damage. In C-60 reduces oxidative damage. And like, for instance, cataracts. That's one of the things a lot of people reported they had light cataracts. They took C-60, their cataracts went away, the light cataracts.
Somebody just asked that question.
Oh yeah, and so yeah, it does that. If you have a heavy cataract, it takes a long time. For instance, from my experience, you probably heard the story, it healed my macular degeneration. And then when I told my friend Gary, he had wet macular degeneration, really bad, where they got like lesions in the back of your eyeballs. And it took about a year, but it totally healed up that. Well, his body healed up. It just removed the oxidative burden. I have a thing called the C-60 Show on YouTube. It's a channel. Excellent. And if you go to Eyes on C-60 episode, you can actually see his before and after pictures. So you don't have to take my word for it. You can see the
great. So what is the name of your channel, Ken?
Yeah, it's called The C-60 Show. And it's on YouTube and a couple other places. And you just go there, and there's like, I don't know, we have like 30 plus videos on all different health effects, and also a few question and answer sessions, so that you can listen to if you got questions.
And we've got the website, which is c60purplepower.com. And if you use the code TCW10, you get 10% off. So if you're going to go there, make sure you do that. No need to pay full price. c60purplepower.com. Now, I've been taking C-60, and I should say at the right dosage. I took a whole bottle of it right after LeakCon and felt no effect at all. But then I talked with you, and I talked with our friend Glenn, and he told me I wasn't taking nearly enough for my body weight. So now, over about a month and a half on the correct dosage, and I can definitely feel very significant, I would say even profound improvement from taking the C-60. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and there's I talked about before how C-60 helps the mitochondria. Makes ATP, you get more energy, but there's another thing mitochondria make, which is called pregnenolone. And that's the precursor molecule for all the hormones. So, as we age, this mitochondria don't work as efficiently. And pregnenolone, by the way, is synthesized out of low density lipids, the LDL, the bad cholesterol. That's why your body makes LDL cholesterol. So it can be synthesized into pregnenolone and a couple other substances, and then used in the body as a precursor for the hormones. So once your cells start producing pregnenolone again, then especially in your adrenal glands, then all kinds of things like the corticosteroids, the mineral corticoids, that's like the ones that regulate your blood pressure, your salt levels, the glucocorticoids, those are the ones that manage your glucose level. I mean, we've had like Gary, not only did his wet macular degeneration completely heal up, his type 2 diabetes went away.
That's amazing.
And then there's the catecholamines like adrenaline, and then finally the androgens. And so your adrenal glands will make androgens, then it goes out in your bloodstream, and then you have testos or ovaries, it'll turn it into testosterone or estrogen or pregnenolone or whatever hormone your body needs. Pregnenolone is now available to be turned into that. So I mean, we've had people that had really low testosterone levels. They take C-60, their testosterone. We had a guy, he had 345. He went to his doctor. The guy was giving him creams. He was up to like 740 in that area. He started taking C-60, went to 1200.
Wow, that's amazing. That's great. Nice to see you, Gnostic
Yeah.
Syncretist. Thank you so much, Chapstick Jim. We appreciate you very much. Hart Walker says something interesting. They say that they're 60, and when they started taking C60, their coloring in their face started looking healthier right away, and it seems to be helping the quote-unquote aging skin on their neck. They're about 3 weeks into taking it.
Oh yeah, that's we had, a lot of the things on C60 comes from people. So customer, like if you have a comment, customer testimonials, customer reports, we love those because it helps. Like we had one guy who was working with us, and he was 54, and he took this is before he was doing C60, he took one of those telomere tests, and he had the telomere length of a 53-year-old. That's pretty expected. Well, he took C60 for 3 years, so now he's somewhere in his 57, and he takes the telomere test, and he has telomere length of 38, of a 38-year-old.
My goodness, that's amazing. We got the raffle entries are coming in. So if you go to jeffreydaugherty.com and you get a raffle entry for $1 at the end of the show, Ken's going to pick a number, and we're going to give somebody a free bottle of C60 Purple Power. Now, I was taking it basically just for the physical benefits because it's been profound to me. And then you sent me an email that said, but Jeff, you don't even know that there's what I call esoteric, spiritual, energetic benefits to taking C60 as well. Let's talk about those if we can.
Yeah, because a lot of I live in Boulder area, in Denver area, and we have, a big, alternative esoteric community here. And so I know a lot of these people. And so they were we had, for instance, psych dowsers. One of my best friends, Greg Storzik, he was a dowser. And he found by taking C60, his ability to do dowsing, he worked for oil companies. He was a professional. So it was so much better. And also we have a lot of psychics. They took the C60, and it's like they could do whatever they do much better. And we also work with like the crypto viewing group. They use a lot of our C60, and the remote viewers, they say when they're on C60, it just improves their ability. What they say, it's like it lifts, it eliminates the static. It kind of just like it lifts the brain fog. So the static goes away. They can, perceive more clearly, or the psychics can see, do their whatever they do more clearly, and dowsers can do it. It just like lifts the fog, the static, and then everything can go there. Now that's one thing. Now you could say, well, maybe that's just due to like, maybe that's just due to because C60 also makes, brain function better, and it might be that. But also we've had reports of like C60 kind of neutralizes bad people from doing bad behavior, like bad people that, they start taking C60, and then they just stop being bad. I'm not sure what caused that.
I'm sitting here on mute. Ken, is there any data on how C60 does or does not affect migraines?
It helps eliminate them. Yeah, we've had a lot of people who've, a lot of this, got to realize, the first human study on C60, I think we did. C60 Purple Power did. We financed one on C60 and eye health because it helped my eyes.
Absolutely.
And like all the participants, it was a 3-month study, just a preliminary one because they're really expensive to do. But in the end, we were testing for cataracts, and it maybe made the cataracts go down a little bit. They had pretty significant cataracts, but it improved the vision for all the people. Okay, everybody in the study had significantly improved vision tested by their optometrists. And so, but a lot of the stuff, and the rest of it's animal studies, right? And some of them are like human skin cell studies. They take human tissue in test tubes and stuff and study it that way, and the positive. But most of the stuff we've learned about humans have people coming in, their testimonials. They say, I was taking this, and this is what it's done for me. And just like I was not expecting it was going to fix my macular degeneration, but it did. And so as these come in, we learn more and more about what C60 does. So it's a lot of, and C60 is an adult choice. You can look at the evidence, make up your own mind. If you're going to wait for the allopathic sick care industry to come save you, well, that's your choice. But if you want to be proactive on your health and get yourself free of the sick care industry, then C60 is one of those things that can really help you.
And nice to see you, Secretary Girl. Thanks for that. We hadn't talked about this, Ken, and it's very interesting. I'm just sitting here considering this because I've been doing a little series, believe it or not, called Dead Comics Society. And I've actually been making contact with some comics that have passed away, and using mainly the divining rods for it. And we talked to Sam Kinison, I talked to Freddie Prinz, and they were really good shows. But on Sunday, and when I talked to Prinz and Sam, I was not using C-60. But on Sunday, when I talked to Joan Rivers, I almost had to stop the show, Ken, because I was so emotionally moved. Not only was I usually, use the rods for yes and no answers, and that worked, but I was actually, it was as if I was talking to on the phone with Joan Rivers. I could hear her words. I could hear it in her verbiage. I could actually feel her emotions. And I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. The people in the chat room were saying how much they loved her, and I could actually feel her emotions from wherever she is. The power of it was just slamming into me. So I can totally understand what the remote viewers are talking about. Totally understand what the psychics are talking about. I don't know why. I don't know how. But the only difference between the Freddie Prinz and the Sam Kinison interviews, and to be frank with you, I liked Freddie Prinz and Sam Kinison a lot better, had a lot more affinity with them than I did with Joan Rivers at that time. And there's no rational explanation to me why I should have been so impacted and felt so much of her power. I mean, I felt like, and since I've been taking C-60, I believe that I'm supposed to do some actual mediumship work. And the only difference, Ken, is the C-60. And do you think I'm overstating it, or is that possible? And
no,
thank you,
you're not overstating. See, we have some bizarre reports, I guess I would call them, from doctors, no less. And doctors are some of them are kind of extreme. So we had this one doctor, and he was taking like 2 ounces of C-60 at a time. That's
a
a large
lot.
amount. So he was like taking two ounces of C-60 a day, and he said he would he'd get into these he's feeling better than he ever felt before, but he would his wife would walk in the room, and he would know what she was going to say before she said it, and other things. He just he said it was almost like he was becoming telepathic or precognitive. He was getting that precognitive and telepathic and other weird what you would call psychic effects. But he was an extreme, 2 ounces a day. He was just,
That's a lot.
doctors tend to be that. Yeah.
But Ken,
they
I'm thinking about it. If the C-60 causes your cells to function at their highest functionality, which it does, and if we are created as spiritual beings, then if everything's working at its optimum, we should experience more what we would call psychospiritual activities. We should be able to do more telepathy. We should be able to sense people's feelings. We should be able to have greater connectivity with the other side, quote unquote. And Lauren says now that she's been taking it, that she gets bad headaches if she doesn't take it.
Yeah, well, it's fixing the problem. And another thing that people have that's kind of in the esoteric woo-woo space, however you want to say it, is manifestation. What people would qualify as manifestation. People that take C-60, like they've been wanting to do this, and so they want to do this, and then it happens. Like they meet the right people at the right time in the right place, and then their dreams or whatever they were trying to get done just happens. Things just manifest, I guess, however you want to describe that. They're just, they're in the right place at the right time, reading the right people. And so whatever they were pursuing can happen. Whereas before it was just not happening, and then bam, they take C-60 and all of a sudden it happens. So it's like manifestation. I don't know, but I guess that's the best word for it.
Right. Is there any, can you take C-60 while water fasting?
Well, no, because C-60 has no water solubility at all. And so it has to be dissolved in an oil. We use coconut, avocado, or olive oil. Personally, I prefer the avocado oil. It's tastes better than olive oil. But no, it probably wouldn't work with a water fast because it's in an oil. And so the oil would be breaking the water fast.
Okay. But I'm saying, I think he was asking if he's on a water fast, can he take it without getting sick or something like that?
Oh yeah, it would take him without getting sick. No, I don't think it's not going to make him sick. It's just that, if you're a purist and you're only doing water, then, because C-60 is suspended in an oil, which is, a carbohydrate sort of.
Yeah.
So so but it's perfect. It fits in the keto world. A lot of
I
people
gotcha.
do the oil in their coffee in the morning in the keto world.
Gotcha. Now, somebody, and I think it's a troll, but we'll address it because we address everything. Somebody who, again, I think is a troll because they don't have a picture or anything like that, says that they were taking C-60 for 2 months and started getting cramping and had a big blockage in their intestine that could have ruptured and killed them. I think that's impossible. I don't believe that's what. I don't know that C-60 could do that, could it? And tell them your background too, your medical background, and if you want to address that
Well,
question.
I'm a biogeochemist. I have a master's in science and biogeochemistry. That's how life has changed the planet over time. It's the most interdisciplinary of the sciences. So I have the biology, geology, chemistry. I all have to put it together to run that stuff. And it was like working on the MOXIE fusion reactor when I actually just learned about C-60. So yeah, I wouldn't know about C-60 causing intestinal blockage. Actually, C-60 is in an oil. And, if you take too much of the oil, you won't have any
you get the
intestinal
opposite effect.
blockage. So yeah, I wouldn't see 60 causing intestinal blockage. That just makes no sense.
And the thing that I noticed,
Yeah.
Ken, and I attributed it to the antioxidant function of it. I didn't think about the oil, but I'm a person, and this is kind of personal, but I'm a person that's very regular on my elimination. But since I've been taking C-60, my elimination has doubled.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the oil or maybe the C-60 making everything work better. It cleans out your cells too. That's one of the things, because once you get your energy ATP production, because you get older, your ATP production goes down. And that's the molecule that uses everything. So a lot of times, trash starts building up in the cell. They have these vesicles where the cell dumps trash and then they just start building out more and more vesicles. So once you've got ATP in there, then the garbage crew can get back to work. Because when you have only so much energy or ATP, they have to put it for the critical important stuff, right? And all the other stuff just sits by the wayside. So when your ATP levels return, then you can do all the critical stuff, and then they can start getting to cleaning up the place and doing all that other maintenance that needs to be done. And so people get like the energy, the brain fog clears, they get more focused. But then as time goes by, the C-60's in there, the proteins, because the mitochondria stick to the endoplasmic reticulum, which is where the proteins are made. And so the C-60 protects, the endoplasmic reticulum, so your proteins are made right, and that, your body's mostly made out of proteins. And so everything over time, you get good proteins, the trash gets cleaned out, everything just starts working better. But it takes a while. If you have a health problem and it took a long time for it to get there, C-60 it doesn't cure anything, but it's still, even when your cells get back to working, it's going to take a while to fix the problem, especially the longer you've had it.
Absolutely. And I'm just sitting here thinking that, not only is my elimination doubled, but it's not like, loose or anything like that. It's productive elimination. So there's obviously, for some reason, my body is eliminating twice as much as it did before. And you don't have to be a engineer, chemist, scientist like Ken is to know that if you're eating the same amount and your body's eliminating twice as much, that's going to have positive effects on your weight and on your internal cleanliness. And another weird thing happened to me. We've got 2 big dogs, Ken, and I was sitting in here doing my work, and I started smelling like dog crap. So I'm checking my shoes. I'm looking, did one of the dogs step in something? And I realized, Ken, and this sounds really, really bad, but I realized that what I was smelling that smelled just like dog crap was my own breath. And this was like 2 weeks in to start using the C-60. So I think it was actually a byproduct of cleansing out my system.
Oh yeah, you can get some significant cleansing when you first take it. And it also appears, we don't have I've done metal testing, and so I have like no tantalum and really, really low metal levels in my body. But it appears that C-60 kind of flushes out inorganic heavy metals. So it seems to be out the mercury, the inorganic aluminum and tantalum and other things like that. It appears to flush out over time, especially when you first take it. There's a big flush of that stuff, and then it does. Now that doesn't necessarily, it's going to be dealing with organic heavy metals that have been bound up in biological complexes. That's a whole nother thing. But like if you've got some of the mouth metal, or you had it, and it's kind of, a lot of times that'll put inorganic mercury, and of course there's inorganic aluminum from all things in our diet and stuff that just everywhere, and it'll help flush that out.
Yeah. And our mutual friend, Glenn, he also, you said it before the show, he's kind of an extremist, and he is. And he was taking pretty high doses of it. And he said that he got the breath thing. And he also had some breaking out on his skin from, result of it being, detoxifying.
Yeah, and part of that, like you get like, little pimples here. And part of that's actually testosterone production.
Oh, that's right. It is, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, the testosterone production goes bad. You can 10 times have like pimples in your back and stuff like that. And
exactly.
and stuff.
So
that's part of it when you're testing. Yeah.
If you want to take advantage of the discount on the C60, you go to the C60 website, c60purplepower.com, and you put in my code, which is TCW for the Christian Whistleblower 10. I don't have the Purple Power on my site because we don't have it set up yet for a direct link where you can click on my site. I guess I could put that on and just go to the regular C60 site, but there's no direct way. You still have to put in the link, so I didn't want you to do double the work. So I'll probably put the logo on the site anyway, but if you want to get the discount, just go to c60purplepower.com, use the code TCW10, and we are giving away a free bottle. If you go to jeffreydaugherty.com, hit the donate now button, you can put in $1 donation and you're entered into the raffle for a free bottle. And we're winding this up pretty quickly, so if you want to get in the raffle, go ahead and do that. But yeah, I've noticed that, Ken, the profound difference in my psychic abilities and the profound physical differences too. So I mean, it's a rather profound product in my opinion.
Oh yeah, and it's they also, C60 is like the biggest molecule they've ever done that wave particle duality test with, the tunneling through, the wave particle and tunneling through barriers and stuff. So it has like 100 million quantum states or something in it. So there's other things that C60 does. It's interesting. I know, I can't have explanation.
It has 100, how many quantum states?
I think it's like 100 million quantum states.
Ken, that would help explain why it's so good for remote viewing, because if you when you are remote viewing, I know when I remote view, it's almost like you're going onto another plane, another dimension, another quantum state. So if it may in fact, and we're just speculating here, it may in fact create routing or connectivity between quantum states. That would be my guess.
And that's probably
because I was with Joan Rivers. It was overwhelming to me. I felt like she was with me, and it definitely created a profound connection between quantum states. It was, when you said that, it just sparked in my mind.
And that's probably part of the spiritual thing too. It's like, that thing, like people, badness just kind of goes away. See, I was hoping we could get all of Congress to take C60.
The thing that scares me, Ken, is I'm wondering, if it makes badness go away, or does it make what a person really is manifest more? So if you're really a good person and you have some trouble with, some bad habits or bad ideas, it might suppress those and let you be a good person. But I'd hate to see what happens if a psychopath or a soulless person started taking C60. They might be even worse. Thank you, Two Trees. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think maybe it gets close as you maybe increases the spiritual connection with source.
I think it does. I think it, especially with what you're talking about with the quantum states, it probably does increase the connectivity. And so, I mean, if you are in the business of doing any type of remote viewing or psychic work or any other type of, well, there's no really other way to put it than psychic work, I think it'd be worth the investment to grab a bottle and see what it could do for you. But just make sure. And how do people, is there a rule of thumb for dosage according to your weight, Ken?
Yeah, it's dosage. It's a dosage or amount that you take is based on age and weight. Okay. And so, for instance, it's effectiveness levels where they scientifically found it was becoming effective is at 0.1 milligrams per kilogram, which is, if you were to translate that into terms people can understand, that would be like a tablespoon of, let's say, C60 and avocado oil would be enough. A tablespoon would be enough for a 330-pound man. Okay. So it might be like, for a woman, it might be 1 or 2 teaspoons. I think there's 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon. But if you're, and if you're older, you need more. So you
Hmm.
kind of add those two together. So if you're really extreme, if you're up in your 70s, you might need, twice as much, maybe a
So
whole
I could
tablespoon.
actually, I think I've been taking like 2 teaspoons, so I could actually take more.
Yeah, you can take a tablespoon a day. That would be easily do that.
Yeah, so
And there's
that
different
would be
ways of taking
3 teaspoons, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And
gonna
the thing
try it because
I
I've had profound effects. Just before, I was just taking a little bit, and it just maybe, I don't know if it was this thing that Cynthia has, a half a teaspoon or a quarter teaspoon. That's not enough. Now I'm taking for sure 2 full teaspoons. So I'm going to get myself to a tablespoon a day, like Heart Walker, who's 60. Oh, they're taking a teaspoon. You might want to think about increasing that, possibly.
Yeah. And another thing is we recommend taking it in the morning because it has a slight stimulatory effect. So if you take it really late at night, it might keep you up. Of course, there's
Yeah.
those people that can take coffee right after dinner and that doesn't bother them. So
Yeah,
if you're
Glenn
that
mentioned
kind of
that to
person,
me
it
too.
probably,
He says, don't take it after 7 as you'll be up all night. But I usually take it in the morning, then I'll take it like in the mid-afternoon. Would you say that would be effective?
yeah, that would be good. Yeah. And spreading it out like that's better. That's because it allows you to, it
Mhm.
goes in and easy, but it aids absorption, I think.
And the funny thing is that I did some work with Glenn, and I can't remember the name of Glenn's website. Do you remember it? Is it Your Med Fit or something like that?
Medfit.com, I think.
Yeah. He said I did a that thing you told me to do. Make sure you do that New Vision scan thing that you said, and he did it. And one of the things that came on there was you need more avocado oil in your body. So I'm like, oh, perfect. I've got the C-60 that's in avocado oil. Also comes in coconut oil if you don't like the taste of avocados. And I actually like the taste of avocado oil, so it's killing more than one bird with just one little pebble. So I'm very happy about it. Very happy about it. Myself, no, okay, I'm good. I thought I went on mute. So, Ken, I really appreciate you being here. I'm going to come out there and spend some time with you and Glenn. I'm really looking forward to doing that.
Yeah, let's hopefully when the weather's good. It's still pretty nasty winter here.
How do I tell, and this is just a practical question, how can I tell how bad it would be? And this is, I probably am a dummy. How can I tell how bad the drive would be from Kansas to Denver? Is there like a website I can go to that shows road conditions?
Colorado Department of Transportation,
Okay.
just CDOT. They call it CDOT. It'll tell you. And usually the drive from Kansas to Denver is perfectly fine. It's when you hit the mountains and you start going up into the mountains, that's when you get the problems. Like on I-70 to the ski places, that's Eisenhower Tunnel. That can
Well,
be
then
bad.
I'll just stay in down at the bottom of the mountains and you guys can come get me.
Uh,
But I'm looking forward to seeing you again. I'm looking forward to meeting Glenn. I know that you two work well together, and it's nice to be able to have people that we know, and it's even nicer to be able to meet people. And Wayne Steiger's not too far from you. He's there, and I think he's in Littleton or something like that.
yeah,
Oh, you met Wayne the night when we had dinner
yeah.
together.
Sometime we'll have to get together with him. He had some
Absolutely.
interesting stories to tell.
Wayne always has interesting stories. Well, Ken, one more time, give your contact information out to everybody, please.
Okay,
Oh,
the contact is c60purplepower.com. And I think we've got a bottle to give away too
we
here
do. I'm
somewhere.
just looking up right now and see how many um I'm just counting them up, and I'm going to ask you to just pick a number between 1 and, let me count. I'm a Bible college graduate, not a math major. So, and here's another one coming in. So I got to make sure I get everybody in here. All right. Gregory Allison. What is Gregory Allison sending me money for? Gregory Allison bought rods. I'm going to just send Greg some rods. I got to refund his money. You met Greg at the LeakCon, didn't you?
I think so, yes.
He's got the big hair and the big beard, and he was talking about the
Yep,
worms.
yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
you don't
yeah.
forget Greg once you meet him. Well, you do a rod show, and all of a sudden everybody wants to buy them. That means I got to make them. Okay, so let me look right here. What do we got? We got doggone it. A lot of people buying rods. Where'd that one go with all the? Here we go. Okay, let me count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me make sure that's all. 10. It looks like that's it. I've got 10 right here. If you want to get an entry in, go ahead and go to jeffreydaugherty.com, hit the donate now button, put $1 in there. And I just want to make sure that somebody didn't put more than $1 in, because of course they would get more than one order, or more than one line. All right. We'll give it just 1 second. Ken, give your contact information again.
It's the C60purplepower.com is the website. And on YouTube, we have the C60 show. We'll be doing a show actually tomorrow live at 11 o'clock.
Perfect. Tomorrow live at 11 a.m.
Yeah, and we also stream it on Facebook as well. We have C60
Excellent.
Purple Power Facebook.
Excellent. And if you do go to c60purplepower.com and you want to get 10% off and help out my work, put in the code TCW10, TCW10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So Ken, pick a number between 1 and 11, please.
How about 9?
A number, you pick number 9. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the winner of the C60 is, and he put an address and everything, beautiful. Winner, chicken dinner, free bottle of C60. It is Mr. James Daugherty of Plattsmouth, Nebraska. You've won a free bottle of C60 Purple Power. James Daugherty from Plattsmouth, Nebraska. Congratulations. That was fun. I like that, Ken. Thanks for coming on and being with us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And I look forward to seeing you again real soon. And we'll be in contact. Anytime you come up with good ideas like this, let me know, and we'll put a show together. We always want to get more good information out to all of these great people.
Sounds good.
All right, Ken, I appreciate you so much. Those of you in the chat room, we appreciate you so much. And thanks to our lucky winner for the free bottle of C60. And again, go to C60 Purple Power, put in TCW10 for a 10% off. And Ken, one more time, it's the C60 show on YouTube.
The C60 show, and the website is c60purplepower.com.
And tomorrow at 11 a.m., there's a great new video being put out.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the 5 best health benefits of C60.
Sounds great. I'll be there. For Ken, I'm Jeff Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Thanks to all of you in the chat room. We do appreciate you very much. We hope that you will remember you're not filled with original sin. You got the spark of divinity within, and it's time for you to guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, and be your own guru. Ken, thanks so much. I really appreciate it, and I'll be in touch real soon.